proud to be your eye on South Sudan.
Ananda gana munazamade maragi daemo ineha tasaha lakini kanta giligo dawa de kufuata fomi altahakuma mafi dawa kanta ligo dawa ina mungkin kan Panadol wala haja tani uligo dawa geri kamsa wala ashar albijine yala burusa gele bishiru sage atangira na derin na fitana altakalinzi munazamat wala takalinzi hakuma na ta jamaa kedisuya na zenzu le watania tabelede guru zezo kanta komo ita mabe guru bara mini milin na milin le bara ofat ulisa guru zezo gae lakini insania de kanta amuro ana kibokura baba na bara kuta be ya bitak lakini serda algamul bidala bidana de serda batal udakal munazamat gamulo break up tabi go munazamat da ya basa be ya ga munazama ya to ita kalamu ya le kijamina na ga guru ze mo guru dile masakile.
Live from Juba, on air and online.
This is iRadio News.
Hello, this is iRadio 1 o'clock news. First, here are the headlines. The Commission of Kapoita North County in Eastern Equatoria State says 9 people died and 29 others were hospitalized due to cholera in less than 2 weeks amid the ongoing outbreak in the country. Vice President and Chairperson of the Service Cluster has called on President Salva Kiir to appoint a new Minister of Health to address ongoing disease outbreaks reported in various parts of South Sudan. And UN Women in South Sudan has signed a $600,000 deal to support inclusive and transforming women in the security sector. These stories and more coming to you in this news bulletin with me, Baria Johnson, and now the news in detail. The Commissioner of Kapoita North County in Eastern Equatoria State says 9 people died and 29 others were hospitalized due to cholera in less than 2 weeks amid the ongoing outbreak in the country. David Nais says 8 of the deaths were recorded last week alone and another one died early this week. Nais spoke to iRadio from Kapoita North via telephone yesterday.
Last week alone, we were able to recovered around 29 people. Deaths were around 8 in total from all the corners of Kapoita North County. And this week, we had one who passed away, one of the women who passed away, but still the cases are still coming, increasing day by day.
The Commissioner said health authorities at the national and state levels have deployed a response team to handle the cases. Despite the intervention, the Commissioner said the outbreak has continued to rise, especially among the remote communities. Nai says local health authorities lack the capacity and facilities to bring the outbreak under control, revealing that the whole county has only one ambulance for emergency response. He says that there is a need to conduct awareness campaigns and sanitation activities to sensitize the communities.
We are discharging many people who have recovered, but still more are coming from the community side. So we send the teams now to carry on the sensitization so that people will understand the danger of this disease. So this is the situation we are in now. Of course, we in the county here, we have one ambulance, and when the cases are very many, it can become very difficult to handle, which I believe the same situation might be in all the country. That is the situation we're in now.
Cholera has been raging across the county since September last year. According to the latest report by the National Ministry of Health in April, the outbreak has so far killed nearly 919 people and infected 48,726 others. Vice President and Chairperson of the Service Cluster has called on President Salva Kiir to appoint a new Minister of Health to address ongoing disease outbreaks reported in various parts of South Sudan. The position has remained vacant since Yolanda Aweldeng, appointed in March 2022 under the SPLMIO, was dismissed by President Kiir on February 10, 2025, during a major cabinet reshuffle. Speaking on the pressing need for coordinated government intervention, Vice President Justin Joseph Lagu emphasized that the absence of a health minister is hampering efforts to combat cholera and mpox outbreaks. She stated that as the chairperson of the service cluster, she had formally raised these concerns with the president, citing the urgency of stabilizing the Ministry of Health. The vice president spoke on state TV SSBC yesterday.
As chair of the service cluster, I reported to His Excellency's challenges facing the cluster, which needs very urgent attention, especially the issues facing the Ministry of Health. As we are aware, there are outbreaks of diseases across the country that needs to be attended, and yet there is no substantive Minister of Health in place.
The South Sudan Doctors Union has also urged the swift appointment of a qualified health minister to lead the national response of the health crisis. UN Women in South Sudan has signed a $600,000 deal to support inclusive and transforming women in the security sector. This is according to UN Women country representatives Ms. Dolphine Seremonga. This project supports peace-building funds efforts and aims to decentralize the initiative beyond Juba to local communities. Diko Andrew reports.
The 18th month project aims to promote a gender-sensitive approach to security and will implement in Yambio, Malakal and Eastern Equatorial State. The initiative is part of efforts to strengthen women participation in peace and security process at the community level beyond the capital Juba. Two national NGOs, Hope of Africa South Sudan and Africa Relief Development Foundation, will lead the implementation. UN Women Country Representative says that the total 600,000 funding will be divided as of 400,000 for one NGO and 200,000 for the other. UN Women says the project is aligned with South Sudan's National Action Plan on Women, Peace and Security and is funded under the Peace Building Fund. UN Women Country Representative Ms. Dublin says.
And today was a really good day because we did a signing with two NGOs dealing with peace building, specifically about women in the security sector. And it was a total of over $600,000 divided 400 for one and 230 for another. The whole idea is giving them the opportunity to continue with the National Action Plan and continue the work under our Peace Building Fund to make sure that not only encourage but also ensure that the security sector is gender inclusive and appropriate for women to engage in that sense. But we have Juba, we have Eastern Equatoria. I believe Malakal was one of the areas, for example, and around Yambio as well. The whole idea is at least to get at the community level, not to keep it central in Juba or at the decision-making level, at the high level, encouraging people to be, in the security sector. Security sector is wide and broad.
Speaking at the signing ceremony, Country Director Alex Moa said the organization will execute the 18-month project running until June 2026 with several major deliveries planned. He added the program will also form technical working groups to advance dialogue and reform while also engaging men as the champions and mentor to promote inclusive implementation. The project aligned with South Sudan's National Action Plan on Women, Peace and Security and is part of UN Women broader efforts to strengthen community level peace building and leadership.
Our agreement for women in the security sector, inclusive program which will be implemented in Malakal, Awil and Juba. So African Relief and Development Foundation will be implementing this program. In this contract, of course, we have signed an 18 months contract which will run current up to 2026. Around June there. Within this contract, of course, we have so many deliverables. One of it is to establish women network within the state. And this women network, these are the people in uniform. The second one is we will also be undertaking gender diversity studies to identify what are the gaps within the security sector that are really affecting women, take the leadership role, and then they will also be engaged in technical working group to discuss. We will also look at in this program where men can also be selected as a champion, because by only focusing on women, it will not really have a very smooth kind of implementation. Men will also be trained as a mentorship.
You are listening to iRadio Afternoon News. The newly appointed Minister of Transport has vowed to work tirelessly to ensure South Sudan gains full control of its airspace, citing it is a key aspect of the country's sovereignty. Dr. Lama Kola Jawin said that despite South Sudan gaining independence nearly 14 years ago, the country has yet to fully manage its airspace, which remains under the control of Sudan. In an address at his reception on Wednesday, the minister reiterated the need to expedite efforts to take full control of the country's airspace.
We are going to work hard to see that we take control of our airspace, which is actually a very important system of our nation's sovereignty. We talk of sovereignty. It is a shame that our airspace still being controlled by our predecessor country for 20 years. But I'm encouraged by what the minister said, and we think that we can proceed from there.
Dr. Akol added that South Sudan must also ensure that professionals appointed to manage the aviation sector are fully qualified.
This issue of controlling our airspace cannot come if we don't have all the required set system. Additionally, something that the minister did not say is that the people we appoint to that authority must be qualified. It is not a question of where some people who go and want to find positions and then they are fitted into this thing like other people who are fitted in other the board of directors with an agricultural bank or no. The qualification of those people are also part of the requirements for those organizations to recognize our system.
In January 2024, former Minister of Transport Madoud Biar said the country was close to assuming full control of its upper airspace following the near completion of a Chinese-built air traffic management system. The project, which began in 2020, faced delays in 2022 after the government reportedly failed to meet payment deadlines. According to the agreement, the South Sudan government was required to pay the company $6.2 million every January 21st and July 21st. Dr. Lam also highlighted the need to modernize Juba International Airport and other regional airports, which he said were crucial for both domestic and international connectivity. He called for collective responsibility and coordination across government institutions to ensure the success of the country's transport infrastructure plans. Dr. Lam was appointed Minister of Transport earlier this month, replacing Madoud Biar in a cabinet reshuffle by President Salva Kiir. And finally, 4 South Sudanese ambassadors on Wednesday left the country for foreign missions after a farewell reception at the State House in Juba. President Salva Kiir bid farewell to the 4 ambassadors, namely Anthony Kon to Kenya, Maurice Batali to China, Lili Adiu to Qatar, and Jacqueline Natibi to Ghana. The diplomats who were appointed to represent South Sudan in various international posts were honored at the State House before their departure. They are tasked by the President to enhance diplomatic ties with vital global partners. Ambassador Anthony Kon said President Salva Kiir emphasized the importance of proactive diplomacy, urging them to advocate for South Sudan's interests around the world. President Kiir is said to have expressed confidence in the ambassador's success and wished them well in their new roles. You are listening to iRadio News, and now to the regional and international news with my colleague Madrama James.
Some experts have described as a shock and awe campaign the drone attacks by the paramilitary fighters in Sudan's civil war after being driven from the capital. Just a week after the army celebrated the recapture of Khartoum, it fuels the Rapid Support Forces RSF launched a series of unprecedented drone strikes on Port Sudan in the east of the country. The attack have led to worsening power blackout as well as city residents facing water shortages. Drones have played an increasing role in the conflict, which has entered its third year. Elsewhere, Ukraine's President Zelensky accused Russia of sending stunning prompts to peace talks in Turkey after Moscow confirmed Putin will not attend. Zelensky, who is in Ankara, had challenged Putin to meet him, saying he will only attend the talk if Putin was there. In response to Zelensky's stunning prompts comment, Russia's foreign ministry calls Ukraine's president as a clown and a loser. The meeting between Russia and Ukraine and US delegation will begin this afternoon, Russia's foreign ministry says, but the Russian delegation seems to be very junior. US President Donald Trump says that Iran has sort of agreed to the terms of a nuclear deal with the United States. Trump described the latest talk between the two countries, which ended on Sunday, as a very serious negotiation for long-term peace. Earlier, an advisor to Iran's supreme leader told NBC News that Iran was willing to make concessions on its nuclear program in exchange for the lifting of sanctions.
Thank you, Madrama. And now to the sports news with Emmanuel Joseph Akile.
In round 25 of the South Sudan Premier League, Al Hilal, WOW, currently 8th on the table, were held to a 0-0 draw by bottom place Nile City. The result sees Al Hilal, WOW, move to 32 points, while Nile City inch up to 5 points. Meanwhile, Koryomborg will look to continue their strong run today as they face Al Salam Awil, who sit 9th in the standings with just 1 point less than Al Hilal, WOW. Koryomborg, currently with 31 points, have 5 games in hand due to their participation in the South Sudan Cup, and a win today could take them to 36 points, potentially climbing into the top 4. In another key fixture, Lion Hunter and Young Star clash in a high-stakes match as both teams fight to escape the relegation zone. A win for Lion Hunter would take them to 17 points, helping them retain their position, while a win for Young Star would see them climb to 16 points and overtake Lion Hunter, moving into 12th place. The results of today's matches could significantly reshape both the mid-table standings and the relegation battle. The South Sudan women's under-20 national football team will face Djibouti tomorrow in the second leg of the 2026 FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup qualifiers. The match will take place at the Juba National Stadium. South Sudan heads into the tie with confidence after a dominant 5-0 victory in the first leg played in Juba. A win or even a draw tomorrow will see the team progress to the next round of qualifiers. If they advance, South Sudan will face the winner between Malawi and the Central African Republic in the following stage. The team's performance in the first leg has sparked optimism among fans as the young bright starlets continue their historic journey in the qualifiers. And finally, the Boston Celtics kept themselves in the NBA playoffs with a win against the New York Knicks as Minnesota Timberwolves beat the Golden State Warriors to reach the Western Conference Final. The Celtics, the reigning NBA champions, were 3-1 down in the best-of-7 Eastern Conference semifinal and missing star player Jason Tatum, who went off injured in Game 4, who had surgery. However, they earned a convincing 127-102 point win at TD Garden thanks to Derek White's 34 points and 26 points, 12 assists and 8 rebounds from Jaylen Brown. The Timberwolves beat the Warriors 121-110 points to secure a 4-1 Western Conference semi-final playoff series win. That's all from the world of sport, and back to you, Barry Johnson.
Thank you, Akile. This is iRadio News, and to end this bulletin, here are the headlines once again. The Commission of Capoeira North County in Eastern Equatoria State says 9 people died and 29 others were hospitalized due to cholera in less than 2 weeks amid the ongoing outbreak in the country. Vice President and Chairperson of the Service Cluster has called on President Salva Kiir to appoint a new Minister of Health to address ongoing disease outbreaks reported in various parts of South Sudan. And UN Women in South Sudan has signed a $600,000 deal to support inclusive and transforming women in the security sector. That's the end of iRadio Afternoon News. If there is a story or an event you would like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message on +211 925 287870. It's also our WhatsApp number. Follow us on X at iRadio Juba, like our Facebook page, iRadio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for the news in Arabic at 1:30. I am Baria Johnson. Thanks for listening.